This is a vlog. My first job when I was 17 was at a dog kennel. I'd go in before school every day, take the dogs out of their kennels, clean, mop, bleach, and then walk the dogs. Go to school, and immediately after school go back to the kennel and repeat. My boss was a nasty person, the kind of person that thinks the only way to get someone to do something right was to yell at them. One day, she was yelling at all of us for being slow and started throwing all the dog dishes we'd just cleaned across the room to make her point. I said, "F this," and walked out. My next job right out of high school was at a factory that made Rubbermaid blow mold shelving. The same thing every day, all day for 10 hours a day. A new part would come out of the machine every 60 seconds and I'd have to cut the excess plastic off with a knife. You know how long I worked there? 30 days. I just couldn't take it. Wasn't for me. I then got a job at the brand new Super Kmart in town. It was much easier, it paid better, and allowed me to enjoy my 20s and have fun with a flexible schedule. I worked there for 8 years. At times I enjoyed it, but after 5 years I realized this was a dead end. I was going nowhere. I'd never be able to afford nice things, and it seemed I'd always own a shitty car that would break down every 45 days. So after 5 years, I decided I should go to school for graphic design. I should tell you that I barely graduated high school. I mean, barely. I wasn't able to get into the college I wanted. Bowling Green State University turned me down and said I should go to community college. So I did. I worked my ass off. I was still working 40 hours a week at Kmart and going to school full time. I was serious about doing something with my life. Unlike high school, where I didn't give a rat's dick about class, I got nearly perfect grades all throughout college. It was fun, I enjoyed being there, and I then realized I liked learning new things. Right out of college, I got a job at a small newspaper where I was in charge of the darkroom. I developed film and scanned in all the photos for the newspaper. I was still working at Kmart but dropped down to part-time. I needed the money. Bill collectors were calling me every single day. I hated the sound of the telephone. My roommates were always covering for me, saying I wasn't home. At this time, I met a guy who owned a recording studio. I was just getting into audio engineering as a hobby and talked my way into the studio. For a year, just about every weekend, I shadowed the head engineer and learned everything I could about acoustics, how the ear works, how a microphone works, and how to record shitty metal bands. After a year, I started getting paid there and recording bands on my own. I had 3 jobs at once, part-time at Kmart, part-time at the studio, and full-time at the newspaper. Not to mention, I had a girlfriend and was in a band that practiced once a week. Every waking hour of my life, I had something to do. I was working my ass off for a greater purpose. Eventually, I had to quit Kmart and the newspaper job, and there was less work to do at the recording studio. I got a new job at a small agency as a web developer. Oh yeah, did I mention at the time of having a gazillion jobs, I was teaching myself web design? Never stop learning. I worked at this agency for about a year. They would write me checks every week but would ask me not to cash them right away. They were broke and they had no idea how to run a business. Once again, I said fuck it and walked out. I didn't have a plan. I just figured I'd start my own web design agency and run things my way. Well, guess what? I failed. I failed hard. I failed to get clients. I failed to make the clients I did get happy. And once again, I wasn't able to pay the bills. Collectors were on my ass. About 5 months later, I was completely broke, jobless, and a pile of loans I was way late on paying. I put together my resume and started looking for a new job. My resume said I could do things I'd never tried. It said I did things I'd never done. But it worked. I got myself a job as a graphic designer / web developer / video editor at a new startup ad agency. The guys believed in me. The resume got me noticed, but it was my interview where I convinced them I could learn to do anything. They liked me for my creative background as an artist, musician, designer, and photographer. They didn't really care what I knew. They cared how creative I was and the willingness to learn new things. I was with this agency for 9 years. I watched them grow from a startup of 3 people to the best in our area of the country. We had some big clients that loved us. I worked with the most talented people I have ever known. Here's a tip for you. If you're dumb, hang around smart people. If you're not creative, hang around creative people. If you're broke, hang around rich people. It rubs off. You are the sum of your surroundings. I worked at this agency for 9 years. It changed my life. I gained confidence, skills, knowledge, and learned to believe in myself. I was making really good money. Finally. During this time, I picked up the hobby of woodworking. I used my marketing background as a way to show off what I was learning. Slowly, I started gaining a following on Facebook, Twitter, and eventually YouTube. I wasn't even that good of a woodworker. I just made myself look good with fancy branding and self-confidence. As my online audience started to grow and my love for the agency was starting to diminish due to demanding clients and long hours, I started to see a new path. I was in love with content creation. I love the fact that I could take my photography, videography, graphic design, audio engineering, and woodworking skills and make them all work as one cohesive machine. Content creation was my new love. So what did I do next? I do what I always do when I'm not happy. I quit. I put my notice in at the cushy, comfortable job where I was making good money. I quit to do what I love, content creation, making videos, blogging. I took a huge pay cut and I took a risk. I learned that life isn't about chasing money, it's about chasing happiness. We're coming up on 2 years since I quit my job and I still don't make as much money, but I can tell you that my happiness is through the roof. This is what I want to be doing right now. I believed in myself and convinced my wife to believe in me. It's easy to get stuck in your ways and say you don't have time to learn new skills. You have to sacrifice. You have to stop watching YouTube, Game of Thrones, put down the PS4. You can bend time to your will. Every night after you put the kids to bed, spend 15 minutes learning a new skill. Go find a meetup in your town of like-minded people and meet with them every Saturday morning at 6 a.m. for coffee and bounce ideas off each other. Get permission from your family to attend a weekend class at the local school, tech center, or art museum. Take online classes at lynda.com, Craftsy, or an online college. Use meetup.com, Facebook groups, LinkedIn, or Craigslist and meet new people. If your family doesn't support this new idea of yours, it's because you haven't sold them on it. You have to have passion. Passion is everything. Nobody in their right mind would roadblock a passionate person on a mission. Remove negativity from your life, or at least what you can control. Take a chance, do something crazy, believe in yourself, and stop hating things in your life. If you're watching this on YouTube, thanks for watching. Patreon supporters, stick around. We're going to draw a name for the book giveaway, and we're going to announce the next giveaway. We'll also be talking about what I'm working on this week. Be safe, stay passionate, and make something. Oh yeah, and buy my book on Amazon.